Bismillah. The sun is still shining even though you are standing in the shade. Now, this is about days feeling absolutely effortless. Sometimes you have those flawless days. And how another day can be the absolute opposite. It's like somebody else is living that day instead of you. Now, the sun has not stopped shining. You've just simply moved into the shade. Now, what do I mean by this? What is this vague poetic talk about? Now, it's very easy actually. It's in reality, it's about a thing we would call flow state. And you can call it a lot of things. Alpha state. Some people just call it a good day. But it is something you have for sure had before. Whenever you're studying, it could be in the gym, it could be when you're working, but the essence is you're doing an activity and it's just flowing. It feels so easy. Everything is so good whenever you do that. Everything is just like the world is perfect for a second, right? Now, I can remember the last time I did this for sure. And it was when I was taking on sales calls, and the calls were just fabulous. Everyone I talked to was extremely every guy I talked to was a good guy. Every question I asked, they answered it with exactly the thing I wanted to hear. And every thing they said, I really listened to it, I understood it. And every call, every conversation was a good conversation, right? It felt so easy. Now, I would have days as well where it's just the total opposite. Every question you ask is a flop. Nothing hits home when you ask. Everything you try and understand, you misinterpret. And every conversation sucks, and everybody thinks you are a sucky salesman, and you should get off the phone and you should find a new job. The two sides of the same coin, because I'm the coin, and it's the same person. And it is so weird that the same guy can on one hand be the life-changing coach, sales guy, advisor, whatever, and on the other hand be a total dickhead. How is that possible, right? Well, it has to do a lot with the state that you are in, because the body doesn't change, the knowledge doesn't change. It's up to two things at that point then. So what you are thinking and the way you are looking at the day, right? What you are thinking and the way you are looking at the day. Because if you notice, when I talk about a good day or being in flow state, and when you think back to your own experience when you were in that flow state, you're thinking about all the good things, all the things that made it flow state, all the things that made it perfect, that made it feel good to you. Because you notice those things. And the funny thing with flow state is you look at the positive, and what do? You look at the wins. And what do you do when you win, right? What's the response to winning? Celebrating, of course. So what do you see oftentimes when I ask a good question, for example? It's like, fuck yeah. That question was a G question. It hit home for sure. You see the expression on his face? That question hit home. And you're like, you're dabbing yourself up under the table. And maybe when you're doing homework, right? Different example, or studying, and you read something, you instantly understand what it's about. And you're like, fuck yeah, I'm the smartest guy in this room right now. You hype yourself up, you celebrate, you're positive. And when I was talking about the negative or the bad day, bad days don't exist. When you're talking about the bad day, I was talking about all the things I did wrong, right? This question sucked. I should have asked it like this, or instead of like this, I should have framed it differently maybe. And or when you're studying, same example, it's like you read something, I don't understand. Man, I'm such a dumbass. Why don't I understand? because you read the answer 2 sentences later and it's like, fuck, I knew this. How am I so dumb? Why can't I remember? It'd be like that, you know? You can be you could be your own like biggest enemy or biggest hype man. And that difference is, I think, what in thinking and feeling makes it a better or a worse day, right? Because you get into a spiral upwards or downwards. Now, if it's about thinking, then why is this not a choice? Why would you have bad days? I don't believe in bad days, personally. Because, once again, I can think, and I can choose what I want to think about. So, how then, if it's purely about thoughts and feeling, can you have bad days still? How does that work? Because if you remember the quote from the beginning, the sun is still shining. You just choose to purposely move into the shade and look at all the negatives, right? And this is funny because it's because a lot of people don't think, right? A lot of people don't think. Well, I think all the time. When I see something, when somebody says something to me, I think all the time. Well, do you? Or is it just mental activity? Look, a lot of people don't think, they respond. And this is a very, very, very big difference. Because when something comes in, thinking would do this. You will choose, is it going to help me? Is it going to move me forward thinking about this? Is it useful to me in any way, shape, or form? Or just, do I want to listen to this? Or do I want to think about this? Do I want to give it space in my brain? Do I want to give it my most precious asset, time, and effort? Do I want to give it that? That's what somebody who thinks does. They think about that every time something comes into their head. Yes or no? They originate thoughts as well, instead of just responding to things they see, hear, feel, whatever. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, they hear something and it comes in their head, and it could, man, if you have guys, for example, when they're going to work, somebody honks at them or almost kills them on the road on the road to work, they'll talk about it in the entire day. Well, that's not thinking, brother. You're not thinking at all. You're just responding to whatever happens to you. You're not even in control of your own brain, you know? You can think, you can decide about what you want to think about, what you don't want to think about. I mean, the guy who almost killed you on your way here in the car, it's like, it happened. Is it going to help me move me forward when thinking about the entire day? No. On the other hand, it's probably going to move me back, because I'm going to be in a negative mood. I'm going to be grumpy all day because somebody almost drove me over. But it didn't happen, and you can't do anything about it anymore. So stop thinking about it, right? Is that easy? You can just choose what you want to think about, what you don't. Now, how would that work when having a bad day or having a good day, for example, or let's say you wake up with a bad day. You wake up like God has given you a bad day, all right? You wake up and you choose to think positive. How does that work? How could you turn a bad day into a good day? Well, one thing we always did with sales is we would stack wins, right? Start small. Was for a different company, but when we used to go out, we always did small deals first, because small deals are easy. But if you celebrate the win, because of the small deals, the big deals will be easy too. Because you are positive, you're in an upward spiral. Now you can choose this. So let's say you wake up with a bad day. You feel like, man, I have been driven over by a truck. That's how I feel right now. Sometimes you wake up like that, let's be honest. Well, you can feel like that, and then step one is reject that thought. That's step one. Reject the negative and look at the positive. I rejected the thought. Victory number one. W number one. I rejected the bad thought. You get out of bed instantly. Victory number two. W number two. Small wins, you know, it's easy to do those things, but you know, you're still winning. And you celebrate that stuff, you know? I did that. Claim it, own it, earn it. I got out of bed instantly. I woke up feeling like shit today, but I didn't let it faze me, because I'm a G. And you get out of bed. Whatever you say to yourself, you know? Get out of bed, make your bed, looks good, clean up your room, looks good, clean environment, victory after victory after victory. It's easy, attainable stuff, but it's a victory. So when you get to the first real hurdle, let's say, of the day, the first big effort for the big win, man, it's going to be so much easier because you are already in this upward motion, in this positive spiral, rather than the negative. And all the negative things that happen, just reject it. Reject it. Choose not to think about it. You stub your toe. It happens. You forget something, maybe. I didn't charge my phone. Fuck. No, whatever. Who cares? I charge it in the car. Charge it at the job. Charge it on school. It's no problem, you know. It's not a reason to be angry, right? And it goes a lot further than just these simple examples, right? But in essence, by doing all these simple things, stacking these simple wins, you can turn a supposed bad day into an extremely good day. I've had a few of my best days, for sure. Starting off like, man, I got driven over by a truck, for sure. I mean, you can just create it yourself. If you think where you're gonna stand next, so are you gonna stand in the sun or are you gonna stand in the shadow? You can get a lot more done. You can achieve a lot more than when you stand in the shadow and accept it as is. Because it's about thinking and feeling. Those are the things you can change because you are still you. You still know what you know. You still have the body that you already had when you were winning. That didn't change. It's pure in your head, purely in your head. So what am I going to think about? How is that going to make me feel? Positivity, reject the negativity. Choose where you stand next.